Kudzu, known colloquially as the vine that ate the South, this plant, native to Japan and various parts of East and South Asia, has been plaguing American farmers since it was introduced in the 1930s to help stop topsoil from blowing away during the Dust Bowl. In its time since introduction, the kudzu has choked out entire cities, plagued vast swaths of farmland, and permanently crippled the agriculture industry today. There seems to be almost no solution to the problem. The kudzu is remarkably voracious and versatile, able to grow in concrete, tar, and even plain rock. The kudzu grows so fast that it can choke out an entire city in less than a year. In the United States, kudzu has been classified as an invasive species, and efforts have been made to end the plant's reign in the region for decades. However, none are successful. As it stands today, the kudzu is the most dangerous threat to agriculture in the region and doesn't show any signs of going away. The kudzu is dominant throughout the United States, but it's most powerful in the American South, where the warm climate and fertile soil allows it to grow unregulated. The kudzu has no limiting factors in the region, and so there's nothing able to stop it in its tracks. In its homeland of Japan, the kudzu is predated on by legume-eating insects, but here such pest species are few and far between, and many insects prefer the more nutritious soybean plant to the heavy, fibrous kudzu.
But the kudzu bug isn't the only problem that plagues farmers in the South. The next major issue disrupting agricultural yields is the pest problem. Pests are problems for farmers across the world, but in the South, they've become experts. Legume-eating insects such as the kudzu bug ravage the landscape, specifically going after soybean farms, which are plentiful in the region. Other pests include aphids, insects that eat a variety of plants, including those used for agriculture. Our final group of pests is non-insect, specifically herbivorous animals, such as deer and rabbits. Deer and rabbits damage soybean plants, eating the heavily nutritious crop that exists in abundance. These pests, along with their insect counterparts, cripple soybean and other crop yields across the South, making growing both difficult and arduous.
Agricultural companies and farmers have come up with two solutions to these problems, both barely effective and arduous. These, of course, are herbicides and pesticides. Herbicides and pesticides promise to rid farmers of both weeds and pests, but they barely do either. Firstly, herbicides are not too effective against the kudzu. In order to kill kudzu, you most likely will have to cut the plant open at the base stem and apply the herbicide there, which requires a lot of labor. As for pesticides, these are half solutions at best. They clear out some pests, but not all, and coat plants in chemicals that must be power washed off. But an even bigger problem of herbicides and pesticides is the environmental impact. Herbicides and pesticides, the vast majority of which are synthetically manufactured, are terrible for the environment. Being made of synthetic materials, they introduce inorganic waste into habitats and ecosystems, waste which is in no way biodegradable or sustainable. In short, these synthetic substances are nothing more than pure chemicals poured onto the earth. The list of problems herbicides and pesticides cause is endless. First, they damage existing topsoil on farms. Extended use of these products both depletes and salinates the soil, sowing it with salt and draining it of any valuable nutrients. This doesn't just make the soil unusable for further farming, it makes any possible ecosystem in the region entirely unviable. Non-agricultural plants can't hope to grow there, and agricultural ones must be regularly supplemented with more synthetic chemicals, and even they die out shortly. Synthetic substances also increase erosion. When plant roots are weakened and damaged through herbicides, they have trouble holding in the topsoil. It becomes easier for wind to erode them away and dry out the lower layers, increasing the likelihood of desertification. But the list of harms to the environment continues. Synthetic substances are also often drained into water sources, specifically rivers, lakes, and groundwater sources like aquifers. This leads to both water pollution and eutrophication. Heavy chemicals and dense nutrients in water sources kill marine animals and cause an overdose of algae growth, which wipes out all hope of thriving animal ecosystems. What is this? Why is everything yellow? It's hard to read. Heavy chemicals and dense nutrients in water sources kill marine animals and cause an overdose of algae growth, which wipes out all hopes of a thriving ecosystem. Finally, there's the production method. Synthetic herbicides and pesticides require a vast quantity of energy and chemical processes to be synthesized, which exacerbate global warming and cause dangerous amounts of chemical production. These chemicals are often dumped into water sources, unused land, and poorly regulated waste areas, where they completely destroy the native environment and often leach into adjacent ones. Synthetic herbicides and pesticides are just ineffective. These chemicals are often dumped into water sources, unused land, and poorly regulated waste areas, where they completely destroy the native environment and often leach into adjacent ones. Synthetic herbicides and pesticides aren't just ineffective, they're also destroying the environment as we speak.
Thankfully, there is a solution to this. Introducing Kudzu, the all-new patent-pending herbicide and pesticide that is completely natural, safe for the environment, and highly effective. Other pesticides and herbicides have to choose between killing weeds and killing pests. We eliminate that decision entirely through our ingenious method of redirection. Kudzu redirects pests from soybeans to kudzu, killing two birds with one stone. With our method, harmful pests no longer consume soybean, but instead become allies of the agriculture industry. They work to kill invasive plants like kudzu. In essence, our solution, when sprayed upon the kudzu plant, attracts pests to the kudzu and away from the soybean, while also damaging the kudzu's growing capabilities. There are three parts to our model. First, nasturtium extract. Nasturtium extract is made from the watercress plant, synthesized entirely through natural means of boiling. Nasturtium has proven to attract aphids away from their regular feeding sources, so much so that pests exposed to the substance have been shown to refuse to eat any other plants. Our second component is crude soybean oil, a substance taken from the soybean plants that legume-eating insects and herbivorous animals often eat. Amazingly, soybean oil has been proven effective too, at attracting animals such as deer enough that they leave regular soybean behind. There's another upside to this. The kudzu and its related plants are members of the legume family, such as soybeans. This is excellent news, as insects are far more likely to be attracted to plants of similar families as opposed to entirely different ones. The only thing missing to pull them away from the soybean and towards the kudzu is the scent, which soybean oil provides. The final component of our mixture? Natural fertilizer compounds found in soil, such as magnesium, potassium, and sulfur. The benefit of this is simple. The overnutrition of the kudzu plant from excessive fertilizer causes it to overgrow, which both attracts more insects and causes it to run out of other resources, causing it to essentially grow itself to death. Plus, by using resources directly found in the soil in low quantities, we ensure that our mixture is in no way synthetic and is instead entirely biodegradable and environmentally friendly. This is the main advantage of Kudzu. While other products on the market are advertised as killers, Kudzu in essence is only a pest attractant. On its own, it does no damage to the environment. Plus, its ingredients are found entirely in nature and aren't in any way artificially synthesized. This doesn't just make Kudzu completely sustainable. It also makes it completely healthy and even in some cases helpful to the environment. Kudzu has none of the negative effects of synthetic herbicides and pesticides and has the added effect of essentially stopping pests in the kudzu at once. Kudzu is a sustainable, green wave of the future. Try Kudzu today!